The Multiple Sclerosis Association of America proudly presents, live from the Barnes Foundation in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the 10th Improving Lives Benefit. Brought to you by Novartis. With your host for the evening, Tyler Campbell. And a special guest appearance by the 2024 Mission Honoree, Dr. Barry Hendin, and the 2024 Corporate Honoree, Antidote Technologies. And now, please welcome your host, Tyler Campbell.
It's the event I look forward to the most every year. It is a true honor and an amazing privilege to be your MC and your host. I'm proud to be from the South, and you can hear it in my mouth. I am someone who was diagnosed with MS back in 2007. First person to ever play Division I college football with MS. But most importantly, when it comes to breaking down barriers and improving lives, because that's what the MSAA is all about. I'm a proud husband. I found love with MS. I am a proud father. I have children with MS. So much so that we have 4, and my mom is like, I need a new hobby. It's not about what you can't do with this disease. It is about what you can do with this disease. And the MSAA is all about what you can do with MS. Whether you are at home or in person, the ability tonight is to combine both segments. Y'all are a part of history with the MSAA because they've never been done simultaneously before. Tonight is the first night. And if you're visiting with us at home, listen, thank you, and first off, welcome. Give us your thumbs up, give us your comments, let us know what it is that you think of the show, because the MSAA is all about transformation, not transaction. Therefore, it leads them to the avenue of being able to improve lives on the routine and regular basis, because we live in a society in a day and time where we're all about transaction, what I can get and what I can give to get where I need to be. What makes this organization so much more different, what makes this organization so much more special, is they take time to transform lives. That means they change the way people think with their MS. They provide resources to help them get to the goals that they want. And when you transform somebody else's life, ladies and gentlemen, you improve their life. And that's why tonight is so incredibly special. So stay with us, be with us, and be enamored by everything that is about to take place tonight. And if you're at home, let us know where you're joining us from. Arkansas, Connecticut, we've got them all joining in right here and right now, and we appreciate you and we love you. We're gonna keep this show moving as I get the amazing honor to introduce my friend, a very well-dressed human being, if I must say so myself. No pressure at all, Jennifer Schwartz, the chair of the board of directors for the MSAA. Give her a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Tyler. You're pretty well dressed yourself, I have to say. And one of my favorite parts of the evening is the fact that Tyler hosts us, and you can already feel his energy, so thank you so much. As Tyler said, I'm Jen Schwartz. I'm the chair of the board of directors for MSAA. And on behalf of the entire staff and the board, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is our first live stream event. I was told to look over in this camera, so connecting with all of you out there in this live stream event, and we're really thrilled to have everybody here and welcome the MS community across our country to join us here today, and we're thrilled to do that. This is going to be an amazing night. It already has been, of connection and inspiration. I have a lot of people that I care a lot about here to support the organization and to support me, so thank you for being here, and I know all of you are making those connections. So I hope you've enjoyed your time at the Barn so far, networking with other members of the MSAA family. And it's really, my pleasure to serve on this board. For over 50 years, MSAA has been a leading resource for the MS community, providing a wide variety of free and vital programs and services. And they are helping people now. That's what we were talking about just prior to the program. That's what makes this organization so special. So MSAA is proud of the partnerships with many of you that are here in the room that have expanded our programmatic work, our engagement, the quality of research activities, all focused on supporting the MS community. As the needs of the MS community evolve, we will continue to evolve with it. We talk about that quite a bit. The innovation that we're doing, the way that we're thinking, we are continuing to evolve in this new environment. And like many of you out there, I have people in my life with MS that I care very much about and that I try to support as best I can. So please tonight, make an effort to support this organization. We have a short program, so without further ado, I get the pleasure, and also extremely well-dressed, to introduce Gina Ross Murdoch, who is, as many of you know, MSAA's president and CEO. Gina.
Well, thank you, Jen. There seems to be a well-dressed theme, and I'm looking out on all of you, and well-dressed as well, so thank you. So I want to echo Jen's thanks and welcome here tonight. Thank you for all in the room, and thank you for everyone who's joining us tonight. The MS community, for the first time through Livestream, can be part of tonight's event. And we are so excited, and thanks to all of the team that have really kind of made that happen. Those joining us virtually can support MSAA through bidding on auction items, through using the QR code to make donations, and to going to our website. Thanks to the support of everyone here tonight, MSAA can continue supporting the MS community with free programs and services. And that does not happen without the people in this room and the people joining us virtually. So thank you all for making that happen. Before we dive into our program, it is truly my honor to thank all of our sponsors who are so critical in making tonight happen. So, our presenting sponsor, Novartis. Our silver sponsors, EMD Serono and Sandoz. Absolutely, round of applause. Completely appropriate. Well done, well done. Our corporate partners, Christiana Care, Polar Products, Sanofi, TG Therapeutics, Viatris, and Zenith Biopharma. Our Hope sponsors, BMS, Exude, Fox Rothschild, and Seekster. Thank you. And our impact sponsors, board member Wendy Scott, Allegiance Group and Pursuant, Banner Life Sciences, Health Union, Helios Medical Technologies, RKD Group, and Thrivewell Infusion. Thank you all for your incredible generosity and partnership. So for all 10 Improving Live benefit events, Novartis has been our presenting sponsor. We are thankful for their continued investment and support of MSAA and the MS community. It is my pleasure. We have a short video that I would like to share with you now.
We're with you when disease changes everything, creating medicines that restore possibility and reimagine what is possible. We're with you, with others who care, doing more together than we could alone, listening, learning, to help you live life on your terms, reimagining medicine together.
And I really want to thank Novartis for all of the support that you guys have given, and I'd like to welcome Tracey Dawson to the stage, U.S. Therapeutic Area Head of Neuroscience at Novartis Pharmaceutical Corporation, to provide some remarks. Thanks so much, Tracey. You're fine. You're fine.
Wow, I feel incredibly privileged to be here. And it's funny, I was, before traveling down this morning, I was saying goodbye to my kids. And my son said to me, "Mommy, why are you going there? What are you doing? You're giving a speech?" I said, "Yes." He says, "It's short, but He said, but why? And I says, for 2 reasons. It's an opportunity for me to give a huge amount of thanks to the MSAA for everything that they do. The fact that we're here 10 years, again, celebrating what they've done for people living with MS is just huge. And I hope you'll join me in not only thanking them for that, but thanking them for laying on this amazing event and giving us as a community all a chance to connect with each other. So please join me in a round of applause for MSAA. It also goes without saying that part of what I said to my son is that as the TA head for neurosciences in the US, I'm incredibly proud that we are, again, the presenting sponsor of this event. To say we are grateful is somewhat of an understatement. And with that, I would like to just recognize some of the accomplishments that we've been able to achieve together over the years. For example, I want to talk through for just a minute about an initiative called the Making MS Decisions Together. So MSAA, in partnership with ourselves, we were able to establish an expert steering committee comprised of patients, caregivers, and healthcare professionals who focused on the importance of shared decision-making in MS. And as a direct result, together we've developed the My MS Workbook and the My MS Checklist. These are tools that are in patients' hands today, helping them have great discussions with their healthcare professionals. It enables them to make sure that they are getting what is important to them out of their treatment. We've also been a huge supporter and a proud supporter of MSAA's initiatives around health equity, such as the Ecosystem Framework, New Directions, Living with MS as a Black Person, and in-person programming for people living with MS, including the Improving Care for MS in Rural Settings. We know it's not easy for people to seek treatment, to get treatment, and it's even harder for some of the for diverse groups and also for people living in more rural areas. And over the years, I'd also like to recognize that MSAA has been a very huge part of many of our facilitated advisory councils, and the insights that MSAA have provided to us as an organization have helped shape how we've approached working in the MS field and supporting people living with MS. And finally, nearly 1 year ago, we created the Multiple Sclerosis Implementation Network, a first-of-its-kind patient-centric initiative. It serves as a model of innovation, improvement, and implementation of evidence-based care and best practices that connect participating healthcare professionals, spanning MS comprehensive care centers to community-based neurologists. By sharing that data and experiences, the health network enables participating centers to learn from each other, and while contributing to research to improve the quality of care and health outcomes for people with MS. These are just a handful of the few things that we've got going. It would be amiss of me not to end on just a huge thank you, not just to the MSAA, but to all of you in this room for everything that you all do for people living with MS. And so, on behalf of Novartis, it's an honor to work with you and to be here this evening as we all shine a light on the strength of the MS community, both here in this room and those of us that have joined online. So I hope everyone is enjoying tonight's event. And again, thank you, and I look forward to being here next year again. Thank you.
I got you.
Thank you, Tracey. My name is Amanda Montague. I'm the Chief Mission Officer for MSAA. I'm excited to share a little bit more with all of you about our groundbreaking Multiple Sclerosis Implementation Network research.
So the MSIN project originated quite some time ago. I actually was working internally on a project aimed at how we could use implementation science and research to improve the care of MS patients as well as their patient outcomes. During an initial meeting with MSAA, I shared my vision for how to do this, and they immediately said, "We've got someone for you to meet." This led to a number of conversations, lots of collaboration, and has led ultimately to what we call the MS Implementation Network.
The thing that makes MSIN so unique is that it's a collaboration, a research collaborative between a national nonprofit, industry, academia, and people living with MS. So the structure is quite unique in that we are intentionally involving people living with MS from the very beginning in terms of the creation of the initiative, the development of the interventions, and then helping us to make sure that we are actually studying and looking at the right issues.
I have been working with the MSAA for about 4 years in research, trying to understand the unmet needs and challenges experienced by people with MS, particularly those who are medically underserved and marginalized. The work we've conducted together will feed directly into our shared vision for the MSIN.
I decided to join MSIN because I thought it represented a phenomenal opportunity to use the science of implementation, which is trying to understand why innovations get adopted, implemented, and maintained, and to use that science to actually improve the health of a large number of individuals.
I think what excites me the most about MSIN is really the opportunity to have a positive impact on how people living with MS are cared for. This collaboration really aims to better understand how to remove barriers to care in MS, ensuring that therapies reach the right patient at the right time, regardless of where they may be, in an effort to really achieve the greatest possible clinical benefit for that patient and for those families.
Seekster is the operating system that brings the researchers, MSAA, educators, investigators, and advocates together to drive and support better patient outcomes. Seekster collects the needed patient data that will fuel the learning across the research and care centers, formulating a true learning health system.
Importantly, MSIN, by measuring clinical outcomes, will use that data in working closely with patients, scientists, and other collaborators to really understand how to improve care across the spectrum of clinical practice settings, again, regardless of where patients may be. And we think by being able to remove these barriers will ultimately have the most impact for the most patients.
The MSIN will create an infrastructure and network to support MS clinicians, to help them learn, to collect data so that they can see how the work that they're doing really works in practice.
And I think it's critically important as well to increase health equity, because we know that as innovations become available, they're typically available more easily to people with resources, and therefore innovations can actually exacerbate inequities. And so with this effort, with this initiative, we're going to be working hard to try to mitigate that and to actually improve implementation, improve practice for everyone.
The hope for MSIN is that we will be able to change care, not just in the future, but that while we are collecting data that will improve outcomes in the future, we are also collecting information currently that will improve practice today for those living with MS, regardless of where they live or who they are being seen by.
As a neurologist and partner, I think that what we hope to achieve is that we can improve the capability of neurologists and other healthcare professionals to make the best possible decisions for patients with MS. This can ultimately lead to an improved quality of care as well as treatment outcomes for people living with the disease.
Truly remarkable. And those of you who've been with the MSA, been rocking with us and were able to be a part of program last year, in 1 year's time, you can see the advancement, you can see the consistency, and you can see the commitment. And also those of you who tuned in last year, to my brother over here, Dr. Jason. Now look, me personally, I've been saying I've been Ebony Man of the Month for 37 years running. But last year, Selma Blair proclaimed him tall, dark, and handsome, and I had to bow the knee. It's some people who just got it. And listen to me, my brother, you got it. Black don't crack, and you handling it well, baby. You handling it well. You got to give credit where credit is due. And listen, I told you that people were tuning in all over the country. And so where you are virtually, we thank you. We've got folks from California, Kansas City who just logged in, and Florida. Tracy F. writes this: wonderful, wonderful program. They have already helped me so much. Transformation taking place before your eyes. So excited for my cooling vest. How about that? Come on, Polar Products. I'm so excited about my cooler vest. So thankful that the MSA exists to provide the much needed help. Thank you so much. That's from Cardamom D. And then our last comment: when I first, listen to this has to make your soul leap. When I was first diagnosed not long ago at the age of 54, the MSAA was the first place that I called. Their help made me feel like a person. We talked about the humanity of an organization. We don't just treat a disease, y'all. You got to treat the person. And sometimes before you go to the brain, you got to tap into the heart. She said that about MS, not just like someone with MS. I will always be grateful for that. Give that a warm round of applause for the MSAA and them as an organization. So when we talk about improving lives, when we talk about taking things to a whole nother level, it's not enough to just talk about it. And I think we all know people in our life who can talk a good game, but when the rubber meets the road and will they actually live and work behind the words that they speak, the people become far and few in between. So to give you an example of what the MSA stands for and how they are improving lives, more than 19,000 inquiries to the MSA's helpline over the course of last year. Staffed by trained specialists by providing needed reassurance and support for these individuals. You pay attention to the slides so that my words can sink into your soul and in your spirit. More than 9,000 cumulative members on the MSAA community. MSAA's online peer-to-peer forum for individuals with MS, their families, and their care partners to share information and their experiences. 19,000 people, y'all. More than 2,000 pieces of safety, mobility, and symptom management equipment. How powerful can that be? You're talking about equipment that helps people get from where they want to be, when they were denied their dreams, when they were denied the opportunities. Now that they have something tangible to get them from A to B, that's transformation. That's improving lives. And we know this as a person who's been a part of the webinars, who's been blessed to view so many great videos and so many great dialogues. There are award-winning educational publications, including the MSAA's national magazine. If you haven't seen it, tap into it. You've got The Motivator as well as the MS Conversations blog. So many opportunities to give resources for free to people who are in need of something to cling to. And lastly, nearly 1,000 people received this, a vital MRI scan to diagnose or monitor their MS. Give that a warm round of applause because we know how much healthcare stands in between that and this. Now, we are all about funds, and you've heard how they are able to help people. It takes money to be able to do those things, and that's why we are also here. So for the people who are present and the people at home, you have access to QR codes, and there's 2 QR codes, and there's one for donations, and there's also one for the auction. Tap into those, log into those, and give what you can give. We just received $3,600 from Janet Chapman in the silent auction and $500 from Jess Mulholland in the silent auction as well. So we thank you at home for being a part of this. Every single dollar raised matters, and we're trying to exceed a goal. So look at the auction from time to time and figure out where you can make your niche. For me, I get the great honor and the amazing privilege to bring forth Dr. Barry Singer, and I always want to say Amanda Montague. It's the musketeer in me. Forgive me, Amanda. She's my sister. I can say it all the time. Amanda Montague and Dr. Barry Singer, please join me on stage. Love you guys. Great. Y'all give them a warm, warm round of applause. Love you, buddy.
So thank you all for attending. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I have the great honor of talking about our Mission Honoree, introducing him, Dr. Barry Hendin. For those of you, many in the room know Barry Hendin, and many people have told me personal stories. Dr. Hendin and I actually have a lot in common. We were both born in St. Louis, both neurologists, both named Barry. We've met over 20 years ago. And Dr. Hendin is really a leader in the world of MS. He has done numerous trials to improve the care of people with MS. He's been on boards, numerous boards. He's committed his life to really improving the lives of people with MS. And I know all my colleagues out there who have interacted with him, neurologists, have always respected him. He has incredible judgment, but most of all, he's kind. He has a great heart. And I think his patients out there, for all those of you that are listening, had the pleasure of having him as a neurologist over all these years. That is something that's non-replaceable. And so on behalf of the neurology community, we are honoring you tonight and on behalf of the MSAA.
So I'll be brief because others have more important things to say about Barry than I do. But I think it's fair to say to know Barry is to love Barry. Your heart leads everything you do. And I've also had the honor and the privilege to work with Barry for 20 years. And you've taught me so much, and I've watched how you connect with people, patients, healthcare professionals. You're an inspiration. And don't take my word for it. Let's hear from some others.
So we have had the pleasure of working with Dr. Hendin as our Chief Medical Officer on numerous initiatives over several years. There's hardly a day that goes by, honestly, when we are not in touch with Dr. Hendin.
In 2019, when Gina and Amanda asked me if I would be willing to be Chief Medical Officer for MSAA, it was a very easy yes. It was an enthusiastic and very easy yes. It was the ability to work with people who shared my purpose, who shared my mission, who wanted to do all the things that I wanted to do together.
I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Hendin on conducting several conversation pieces about what was going on during the tumultuous time of the COVID-19 pandemic and the uncertainties surrounding how COVID would impact the MS community.
Dr. Carrie Hirsch from the Cleveland Clinic and I put on a series trying to educate the patient and practitioner community about what we knew about COVID-19.
It was a true honor and privilege to co-lead these efforts with him through the Barry and Carrie Show.
He's been so instrumental in some of the initiatives that we've developed over the years. In particular, I'm thinking of the Ultimate MS Treatment Guide, which started in a simple conversation that Dr. Hendin, myself, and Jesse Dillon had around what was missing in the MS space. What could we build together?
Me and Amanda and Barry had been working together for a while, and in a discussion that we were having about some of the new treatments that were around, it became obvious that patients were having a very difficult time navigating what and why a certain intervention might be right for them.
The mission and the intent was to translate our multiple MS therapies, now more than 25, so that the therapies would be understood by practitioners, by patients, by caregivers.
All of that information is so critical, and it really required Barry's to look at it and understand what it was and help us translate it so that it could reach as many people as possible.
There's so many things that inspired me to follow in my father's footsteps and become a neurologist. But I think thinking back on all the influences, probably one of the very most important pieces of it was sitting around the dinner table, talking with my dad and my family about neurology, about people, about multiple sclerosis, about how we could fit in and the enthusiasm with which we could make a difference in people's lives.
I was approached by Gina a few months ago and asked if I would be the honoree for the MSAA benefit. And I have to say, first of all, I was obviously honored, but mostly I was also humbled. And I really mean that. I thought to myself, of all the people who participate together in making the lives of people with MS better. We are such an interwoven community. I'm such a small part of that fabric. And so I was honored and simultaneously humbled, but grateful. Thank you.
When I think about what I would want others to know about my grandfather as he receives this reward, I really would like to say that throughout it all, his professional career, his medical practice, and his personal life, I feel like he's managed to find success through the sheer power of being him. When you speak to patients that he's helped, when you speak to their families and friends, you get the very real sense that there is no artifice to this man. Everyone gets 100% Barry Hendin. And I don't think many people are disappointed by that experience. And some of the greediest among us get 100% grandpa as well, which is even better.
So I don't feel like I have to introduce myself. I have been a neurologist for over 50 years. I am currently an MS neurologist. And when you've been a neurologist for such a long time, you tend to get reflective. What does it all mean? What was it all about? And so let me take you on a slight journey, and that is, I left residency, I left training in 1972, 52 years ago. 52 years ago, the day I left training, there was not a CT scanner in America, much less an MRI. There was not a disease-modifying therapy for MS. We were going to wait another 20 plus years before we had the first ability to really change the trajectory of a life of someone with MS. The world of a neurologist treating MS was a world of really impotence, and for patients it had to have been even more frustrating than for us. The reputation of the neurologist was people would go in and make a diagnosis, and then what else could we do? The phrase was diagnose and adios. And people think that meant merely diagnose and goodbye, but really literally diagnose and adios. You're in God's hands. I've done all I could do. It's now God's will. Diagnose, adios. And when I reflect the life of the career of one person, it's such an extraordinary journey in terms of the successes we've had in treating MS, from 0 therapies to more than 25, from no radiologic tests that could really take a look at the brain in an adequate way, to MRIs, and then more and more useful ways to look at those same technologies. And with it has been greater understanding. The lives of our patients has changed enormously during this period of time. The likelihood of disability has decreased progressively. The ability to enjoy full lives has increased progressively, a very satisfying thing. Amanda, you reminded me that the first time we ever spoke together, the first time I met Amanda and the first time I had a real interaction with MSAA, Amanda today reminded me that I told a story. If you forgive me for a story. The story comes from a University of Pennsylvania professor, Joe Berger, for those of you who know Joe Berger. Joe Berger has a story. I'm certain this one is an absolutely true story because Joe Berger told the story. And the story went as follows. In the early 70s, there was a man in San Francisco who had accumulated a real fortune in his business, but he was bored. He was reaching his middle age, and he wanted to do what he wanted to do, which was balloon flight. And so he sold his company, he took the cash, and with some of it, bought the best balloon money could buy, best technology, everything was really good. And he sailed that balloon from San Francisco toward the East Coast, and everything was great until the winds died down over Kansas. You know this story? All right then, Kansas, and he was lost. He was in the middle of Kansas. And he saw, fortunately, a man down on the ground far below him. He brought the balloon down close to the man, and he said, "I'm lost, sir. Can you tell me where I am?" And the man on the ground said, "Why, yes, you're in a balloon." The man in the balloon said, "Are you by any chance a neurologist?" He said, "How did you know?" He said, "Because what you told me was absolutely true and absolutely useless." It was the world of neurology, 1972. We've come a long way. So I said that I would try to reflect on the meaning of these 50 years, and if what we've learned as neurology, as an MS treating community, but also what I've learned. One of the things I've learned is, as much as I say that we've done, how much more there is for us to do. On the science side, can we repair damage done to the central nervous system? Can we remyelinate demyelinated nerve? Can we go one step further? Can we actually, we've become so good at reducing attacks. Can we solve the problem about progression well enough so that we can not only reduce the likelihood of attacks, but proportionately also treat progression, which right now is the more difficult part of our treatment paradigm. And then can we really understand what causes MS well enough and stop it before it starts? Whether that's a vaccination for the EB virus, whether that's understanding genetics, whether that's some other innovation. There's more to do on the science side. Just as there is more to do on the science side, there's more to do on the human side. And that's really where I turn to you all, MSAA, we all, MSAA, we all, MSAA. How do we change the lives of people who don't have access to care proportionally, who don't have equal access to care? How do we have them seen sooner? How do we educate a patient, the population of people with MS? How do we educate the people who take care of those people? How do we deal with and support caregivers for people with MS? And so how do we humanize, just as we need to advance the science, we need to advance the understanding of care of people with MS. And I think really that's the center of gravity for MSAA. Somehow translating not just the science, but the care, the access to care, the understanding of care, the support of a daily need. So if your mission is improving lives now, how do we translate not just the science of what we do, but the care we provide and the education we provide so that the understanding is translated, so that the access to care is improved, so that people with MS really have the best quality of life possible. Maybe the second lesson is change. I used to think since we had Bob Dylan's son up on the screen, Jesse Dylan, I suppose it's the time to talk about his song, The Times They Are Changing. From the time I was a young man, the times they were changing, and the times they are still changing. Embrace change. The change is going to occur whether you like it or not, but liking it, being part of it, is really the essential. I think I really appreciate change more now at this age than I did 40 years ago or 50 years ago. It's a constant, and for the most part, it is something which leads us to a better place. Be part of that change, and that's really the biggest thing to say, being part of that change, and that's what you all are as well. And then the concept of seeking a community. Hopefully, some of you are building a community. Some of you are building a community of care. Some of you are building a community of care. Seeking that community of care, we can't do it alone. It does take a village. You can't, just as taking care of one person with MS requires a large community, takes a village. It takes a village to really undertake the task of improving care for communities. So you may find that in the person who shares your mission, your ideals. You may find that if you're lucky in a group and in a community. And I will say that, and this is a sort of a tip to all of you, a tip of my hat to all of you, and that is, you do represent, and I mean MSAA and all the people in table number 2 and beyond. You all have really walked that talk with symbols signifying the importance of that comment. You all have really have created a community of care. You all have spread that community and created access to care and understanding of care, understanding of MS, and reached across the country and reached across nations to improve the care we deliver. So I'm thrilled and humbled to be honored. I am especially appreciative of who's doing the honoring. I think that no one does better, truly, than you all do in making the lives of people with MS better now. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, son. Congratulations. I'm keeping that story. Truly remarkable. And when I hear Dr. Hendin speak, you know, it's one thing for a person to say they can see. When a person has vision, it comes from the heart. And Dr. Hendin has vision. And I think one of the things that you notice immediately when you speak to him is that his heart is invested in the patient. And a lot of times as patients, you don't always get the chance to be before a doctor, a specialist, a neurologist who leads with the heart. But when someone leads with the heart within that patient room, you feel comfortable. You feel like you can trust. And it's no wonder, sir, that you have an amazing legacy to share this moment with you. Your grandson has a mustache like nobody else will believe. But look at the legacy that you have created from your children to now grandchildren. Sir, be proud, and we salute you and we appreciate you. So thank you so very much, sir. Thank you, thank you. Really want to keep this thing going. To everybody at home, listen, I have not forgotten about you, and everybody in present, you need to know what's taking place in the chats behind the scenes. Somebody named PR tuned in all the way from Long Island, New York. Man, I love their accent. Thank you for all that you do from Long Island, New York. MSAA was the first call in 2017 when I was first diagnosed. This comes from Lori Ann. Oh, and believe this, $50 donation from Paige in Elmont, New York. So we thank you, Paige. We see you. We appreciate you. And the last comment today, look, I refer MS friends to MSAA when they ask about cooling equipment. Man, Polar Products, y'all got to be standing up. Y'all get major shout outs today. We have the privilege of having Dr. Hendin as my husband's neurologist. He has been our trusted guide through his MS journey. Thank you, Dr. H, and that comes from Steve R. Again, making the difference, sir. Making the difference. As he hinted to earlier, it takes a village. You cannot fight this disease alone. Start thinking about, if you're at home or if you're in person, where do you build your village? If you are a caretaker, if you are a family friend, get your insight and start thinking about how you can help be a better village or a better vessel for somebody else who is diagnosed. It's each one, reach one is the culture that I come from. But then it's each one, teach one. And collectively with those types of things, that's how the world is forever changed. So keep those auction items going. Please stay in tune with the auction. Every donation matters. Keep your phones handy. Hit that barcode. Make your donations. And now I get the illustrious and amazing pleasure to bring before you a woman like no other, a friend of a friend, someone who I consider a sister. And yes, I'm gonna go ahead and say she wins Best Dressed CEO in the United States of America. I want to bring forth Ms. Gina Murdoch. And Gina, give us your heart and your passion, because I know we're coming with something special. Take it away, honey.
It's hard to follow all of that, so thank you so much. And I share the congratulations and just truly love of Dr. Hendin's generosity for MSAA in your thoughts, your guidance, your passion, your direction, and just you. So MSAA is blessed to have you as our Chief Medical Officer. So kind of going off again on partnerships for MSAA, we are truly thrilled and honored to recognize this year's 2024 Corporate Honoree, Antidote Technologies. Absolutely. Antidote is a digital patient engagement company that offers online access to clinical trial information. Antidote provides the vital services connecting patients with the appropriate clinical trial information through an innovative and easy-to-use online resource. MSAA began the partnership with Antidote in 2017 with the goals of increasing awareness about MS clinical trials and providing people with easy access to this important information. Through this partnership, we added the Antidote Match clinical trial search tool to our website, allowing visitors to find clinical trials just by answering a few questions. Clinical trials are often delayed due to the difficulty in finding patients to participate. This means research takes way longer than it should and leaves patients and care partners waiting for answers. We are grateful to have partnered with Antidote for the past several years in offering clinical trial information to the MS community and are thrilled to be able to continue this partnership for many years to come. I would like to share a short video with you now, really highlighting the amazing partnership between MSAA and Antidote.
It's vitally important for people living with MS to have access to clinical trial information because all of the multiple sclerosis disease-modifying therapies that we have on the market today come from clinical trials in the past. And the therapies continue to be more precise and more efficacious because of these clinical trials.
MSAA started our partnership with Antidote back in 2017, really in an effort to provide clinical trial information to the MS community.
Antidote is an organization that was founded on the principle that we wanted to connect patients more effectively with clinical research. 85% of clinical trials end up having to be canceled due to not finding participants on time.
The world of clinical trials can be very confusing for patients to navigate. What Antidote does is really a service to all of us in patient advocacy and to people living with MS. By helping to make it much easier for patients to identify and find clinical trials that they want to be involved in.
So Antidote developed the Antidote Match tool, which takes all of the clinical trials on clinicaltrials.gov that are recruiting or not yet recruiting, which is in the thousands, and then distills that into a set of patient-friendly questions that patients can then answer to see if they might be a good match for a trial.
And we were able to incorporate that tool onto MSAA's website. So if you go to our website and access clinical trial search within the navigation, you'll come to a clinical trial webpage. And individuals can go through a very user-friendly process in identifying clinical trials that may be appropriate for them, and then in turn share that information with their healthcare provider.
Both MSAA and Antidote, we understand the difficulty
Stand by for a moment. My apologies. What's good about our partnership between MSAA and Antidote is we roll with the punches. We appreciate flexibility. We are still dedicated to the unpredictable aspect of technology and the unpredictable aspect of MS. And we appreciate their patience, we appreciate their partnership, and we appreciate all that everyone does for the MS community. So with that, not knowing how that's going on, I think we had the wonderful Sam Veek, who is the co-CEO for Antidote, who is doing a lovely job in talking about the partnership. Do we want to continue on? Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Truly, I appreciate everything that Antidote does. It is an amazing tool that they have provided, and the partnership since 2017 really has put critical clinical trial information into the hands of those living with MS. And again, we talked about the seriousness of delays of clinical trials progressing because patients can't get information to participate. Antidote is our partner that makes that happen and gets people the information. So it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Richard Towne, Senior Clinical Informatics Manager, to accept the award and give remarks.
Thank you, everyone. Well, I wish that video freeze had happened on a Zoom call so I could capture it and send it to Sam afterwards saying, hey, look at the face you were just making in this video. Several times I've done this to Sam. What's really interesting, and first let me just say that we are incredibly honored to receive this award, and it really means a lot to us. And I'd like to also thank all my amazing colleagues at Antidote and just the work we've been able to accomplish over the past decade. And when Dr. H gave his speech, I was thinking, currently my partner is studying for her NAPLEX exam, which is the pharmacy licensure exam. And it's my job as a boyfriend to give the flashcards and quiz and so on and so forth. And it's very interesting to me just seeing the multiple sclerosis information that's tested on the exam currently. It's remarkable how much progress has been made in the treatment of the disease state, in the new drugs that have been produced. And I can think back to when I took my licensure exam, and the general theme was that all of these treatments were not good and the only thing you were quizzed on was the side effects. And it is remarkable, just remarkable how far we have come now. As part of my responsibility at Antidote in the day-to-day, my team and I look at every single, and in the video I said thousands, currently recruiting, not yet recruiting trials in clinicaltrials.gov. And as part of that, we get to see the work of many, many different parties, from individual investigators to large sponsors to really just anyone that's interested in making a difference in the world in MS. And it's fascinating to see the things in the pipeline, the things that are being tested, the things that really have a promise to improve multiple sclerosis in the future and to help patients worldwide. And it's one of those things that I'm reminded of a story, just to bring up an own analogy that really got me through pharmacy school and through the day-to-day. It's a story of a father and his son. And the son has this project, and he's looking over all these birds. His project is to paint all these birds for his assignment. And unfortunately, much like many of us that have gone through school, the son hasn't started it yet, and it's the day before. And the son is very nervous, and he's getting very overwhelmed, and he asks his father, he says, Daddy, what do I do? I haven't done a single bird. And the father responds in the way that any parent here must have, where looking at this child in tears who's currently going through a very stressful moment, and he says, well, there's only one way to do it, son, bird by bird. And I think about that with finding patients for clinical trials. It's not about finding hundreds and hundreds of patients in one fell swoop. It's about one patient at a time, enrolling in a clinical trial, filling up the queue. Every single patient matters. It is the stat that I mentioned earlier, 85% of clinical trials never go on to conclude because they're not able to find enough patients. And those trials, those drugs, those properties, they all fade into nothing. And what could be a life-changing treatment for so many millions of people across time is lost. And it's not just the patients, it's the researchers, and it's the studies, and it's the small studies where someone has a very small idea, and they have an idea of how they can make a patient's life better, or make a procedure better, or maybe even improve something 1%. And it's just those small things that really add up over time, and it could change the world for the better for millions and millions of people. So it's not, I'll overstay my welcome. I will wrap up by saying just thank you so much, everyone, for giving us this award. Thank you, everyone, for your impact here. Whatever impact you have on the multiple sclerosis journey, just know that it's appreciated and that it really means a lot for everyone that you're here. And I just want to say that, you know, the only way that we can go forward is to keep on improving multiple sclerosis bird by bird. So thank you, everyone.
There's an award. I know, bro. We are really live up here, y'all. This is not scripted. This is legit. Okay. Thank you. Congratulations, Antidote. I want people to understand, as somebody who took part in a clinical trial, I think it's also important for the folks at home, the people within the room, there are many different types of clinical trials. It's not always about blood work. Sometimes it can be as simple as surveys. What we're asking and what we're needing to further the advancement, to help give people a better quality of life, to help deliver hope, we need clinical trial participation. And what I'm excited about is what we have is an opportunity with Antidote coming forth to provide a trustworthy resource for people to do so. So many of us are diagnosed. So many caretakers are within the building. You know MS like the back of your hand. All we're asking is for some of us to take the time out. We can't further the advancement. We can't help pharma companies. We can't help government. We can't help ensure a better quality of life without participation in clinical trial. So it matters and we need it. And number 3, it is necessary. So thank you all so very much and congratulations, we mean it. We're getting to the segment of the show where if you cry tears, I am not responsible. It happens every time. This is the window seat into the heart of the MSAA and the multiple sclerosis community. Welcome to Hope and Impact.
As the chair of the Healthcare Advisory Council, the MSAA has empowered me to advocate for improved care, offer guidance, and collaborate with other MS experts around the U.S. on impactful initiatives for the MS community.
MSAA has impacted my life through the charity partnership with Run Disney. It's given me a way to participate in the Run Disney events that I used to participate in all the time. And then after my diagnosis, I had to take a minute off, but I'm able to do that again now while raising funds and awareness for multiple sclerosis through the MSAA.
MSAA has had a sizable impact on me personally, and I believe this is largely because their care for their patients shines through. And I believe that's something everyone in the healthcare space can really take inspiration from.
The impact that MSAA has had on me has been to change my focus as a neurologist from being one of a caregiver in my community to a much greater national community. It's America, it's MSAA.
The Multiple Sclerosis Association of America has been with me through the years through various programs, especially the cooling program. I live in New Jersey. I go down the shore, which I love. Because of the cooling vests and the scarves and the hats that they provide, I was able to spend so many summers down the shore not worrying about being overheated, which I'm so thankful for.
MSAA has had a great impact on me, but partially it's had the impact on me when I see somebody sort of struggling with a new diagnosis or wanting to know where they can go, how they can reach out to people. MSAA gives me that sense of there are people there who are looking out for them that I can involve in my patients' care.
MSAA has really helped me to feel and be seen. Because of them, publishers were able to find my art, and that led to me being on the cover of 2 neurology magazines.
Working with the MSAA has been transformative for me at a personal level. I no longer see myself as a doctor alone trying to do her best for her patients. I am part of this dynamic community that agitates every day to improve the lives of those living with MS.
The impact that MSAA has had on me personally is increased excitement about what I do day to day, because it has provided an opportunity to work with really smart people who are also very, very committed to a cause. Excitement and inspiration is how MSAA has impacted me.
Upon being diagnosed with MS 2.5 years ago, I, was a fully functional, healthy 30-year-old. And out of nowhere, this big, I'm just hit with a bus. And I applied for, the program that would help really pay for the MRI. And within hours, Courtney reached back out to me. And it was just like a huge weight being lifted off my shoulder. Being, a single mom and going from doing everything myself to now needing help with everything and being off of work and not knowing, what I was going to do to get these MRIs that I needed. It was just such a huge relief. And I really could not thank Courtney and the team at MSAA for everything, that, you guys did for me.
Collaborative.
Dedicated.
Heroic.
Compassionate.
I can't describe MSA in one word. I'd need 2. Beautiful culture.
The first word that comes to mind when thinking about the MSAA is family.
In one word, if I had to describe MSAA, it would be connect.
MSAA, in one word, I would say is beneficial.
So I would probably describe MSAA in one word best as accessibility. In the sense of, I think of MSAA as really trying to bring great concepts and make them accessible to people, and to make the education accessible, to make the care accessible, and to bring the community together.
That you're not alone, that you're part of a very powerful community of people who care about MS and solving the problems of MS, and MSAA is very much a part of that.
One thing I'd like people to know about living with MS as a person with MS is that everyone's different, and not only is everyone different, every day is different for everyone.
I always want people with MS to have optimism.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but one thing that I have definitely learned is my life is now different but it's not over.
I want people with MS to know that they are not alone. We are here listening to their needs, to their concerns, and to their dreams, and we have their back.
The very people living with MS inspire me. Their resilience, courage, and determination in facing their everyday challenges are nothing shy of remarkable and are true qualities to embrace.
What inspires me is basically my son, my friends, my family. I'm thankful, I'm blessed, even though I have MS. I've learned to adapt through the years, the changes with organizations such as the Multiple Sclerosis Associations of America, and their programs have helped me to adapt to a better life, one that I'm happy about, and one that I feel that I'm a productive member of society.
When I see an organization like MSAA that is very clearly focused on helping people, helping patients, I think that just gives us all a little boost that we need to remember why it is we do what we do, and it's really all comes back to making the world a better place by helping patients out.
What inspires me most is the ability to make a difference. And as I choose projects and studies to get involved in, I choose those that I know are really going to make an impact in health and in quality of life.
What inspires me is the newly diagnosed. As you come to MSAA to get these important resources, you'll be there along with us, fighting all the way.
Many things inspire me, but especially I wanted to say for tonight in particular that my father has always been a great inspiration for me. And he's been an inspiration and a mentor in terms of neurology and learning about MS as well.
What inspires me is the advances that we've made to date in caring for people with MS, and the knowledge that we will certainly continue those advances into the future.
It's a possibility. Anything really is possible. And that is what keeps me going and inspires me every single day to just keep pushing forward.
It just hits different when you hear from somebody else's journey and their perspective as to how the MSAA has changed, has improved their life. You are hearing people who have hope. And the cute, beautiful thing about hope is hope builds determination. If you know a person who's hopeful, they're determined to get to where it is that they want to be. And a person who is determined has a positive attitude. And with a positive attitude, like my mama would always say, there's no limit to your altitude as a human being. So today, as we transition and we get to the part of this program where it takes dollars to continue to give hope to people who are so in desperate need, I want you to make sure that you've got your QR codes ready. Whether you're in person here or whether you are at home, we need you to open up your pocketbooks. Lead with heart, like Dr. Berry does. And know that you are with a trustworthy organization who means what they say, and they are going to stand by it because they have a CEO who is committed and a staff that is unbelievable like no one other. So you're in good hands with the MSAA. We're looking to surpass the goal that we had of last year of 26,000, and we're going beyond that because we can. And it's amazing because I want to give you a leg up moving on to this next segment of the evening because Jason Slattery has already committed to $10,000 to be able to give this night tonight. $10,000. So as our spotters are within the room and people are here for our mission auction, I'm encouraging you. What will you give? What is on your heart to support? What needs to be made and done to help the MSAA tonight? With that $10,000 commitment, We've got individuals within this room who want to give, so give. Raise your hands as they're going. We've already got an $8,700 commitment by Michael Chenault. Give him a warm round of applause for what that is. If there's anybody within the figure, keep your arms raised. If you have something that you want to give to the mission program, we're inviting you, please raise your hands, keep them lifted, and we will get to you. Whatever that amount is, every dollar matters. If you're at home, whatever you've got to give, every dollar matters. It's Michael, oh my gosh, Michael S. from New York just donated $3,500. Michael, we thank you. That's a live stream donation of $3,500. Sarah Allison from Kansas just donated $500. Thank you so very much, Sarah. If you're in the room, wherever you are, whatever you have to give, raise it, and we will get somebody else to you who's there. Our total amount raised, oh my gosh, so far, so we're at $31,641. We've already started to surpass. Martha Centuria, if you're in the audience, or it might not be here, $5,000 that was just paid, just passed out. We got a spotter over here, get them, help that. We got to get this over. Is that Dr. Barry back there? Oh my gosh, Dr. Barry Singer giving donations over there. Thank you so much, Dr. Barry. Thank you so much. He's got us for $5,000. Thank you so very much, Dr. Barry. Anybody else within that $5,000 range, just keep your hands raised. We will get to you. We will get to you. 3,000. Anybody within the 3,000 range? Anyone? And I think Michael, was Michael still in the building? Michael Chenault? If not, he's not here. Again, if you're tuning in with us virtually, we thank you because he also wrote in for a donation of $3,500 again. So not only did he give 8.7, he just gave 3.5 as well. So thank you, Michael, for tuning in virtually. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you. Every dollar matters. I told you we had a goal of 26,000 and we already have surpassed that and moved. If you're at home, if we missed your number, if we did not get there, it matters not. Scan that QR code. We will continue. Edward Banfi just donated $157.21 from New Jersey. Again, every single dollar matters. Whatever's in your heart to give, we're encouraging you to please give it because every donation is all a part of making the difference. You guys have the QR codes. Take them home with you as you leave this place. And whatever is on your heart to give, pass it to a family member and a friend. Whatever can be given will give opportunity to someone who's in desperate need. As an MS patient, I live. We have opportunity as a family because of donations like this. So we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Jason, thank you from wherever you are. Oh, we've got more. What's the count? 5? 1,500 for TG Therapeutics. Thank you guys. TG, tell Dr. Fox Tyler said hello. Tell Dr. Fox Tyler said hello. That's my buddy. All right, so keep it going. We love you guys. We got one more donation here. 2,000 right here for Polar Products. The beard game is still strong, brother. I love you. Tell your dad I love him as well. Thank you guys. Oh, there you are. Thank you so much, brother. Love you. Whatever you have, just stay patient. The donations, we will get to you. If I didn't call you, if I didn't see you, I apologize. But thank you guys so very much. Want to be able to bring up Gina to join me on stage. Jen, where are you to join me on stage really quickly? If you have donations, again, keep your arms raised. Our spotters will get to you. I'm turning it over to 2 amazing ladies, and thank you guys so very much. We are in good hands. Thank you, and keep those hands raised, okay?
A round of applause for Tyler being the world's best.
Yes, amazing, and thank you again to Novartis for your support for 10 years. We really do appreciate that.
Thank you to all of our sponsors. We appreciate you coming out tonight. If you bid on any of the auction items, you can go over to the table over there. Anything that was online will be open till 11:59 p.m. Friday night. Again, if you feel so inclined, the QR codes, make donations. None of what you saw in the Hope and Impact happens without partnership, collaboration, and funding. So thank you for all 3, all in the past. We appreciate your time. It's been an absolute pleasure spending Wednesday night with you. Safe drives home. Thank you so much.
Thank you.